There's always a group of people who say you can't do it. And so the system has to change, and they're a victim, and they're entitled. So it's just this one segment of whiners on TikTok or something pops up because they don't want to face the fact that they got to control the person in their mirror.
Financial advisor and Ramsey Solutions founder Dave Ramsey hit a nerve recently after he appeared on Fox Business and accused younger generations who don't own homes yet of essentially being lazy individuals who refuse to work. Here's more.
The truth is that this Gen Z generation and the millennials who caught a bunch of crap are excellent generations. What we're seeing with both of them is there is a segment of them that is very serious and very good with their money. They believe in it. They believe in saving, they believe in investing, they believe in the free enterprise system. And then there's a segment of them that just sucks. They're just awful. I mean, their participation trophy, they live in their mother's basement and they can't figure out why they can't buy a house because they don't work.
Let's figure out why they can't buy a house. Because Dave Ramsey, tremendously wealthy, okay, good for him. Most people not tremendously wealthy. Most people have not experienced their income keep up with inflation, especially as it pertains to things like housing. There is a severe housing shortage, which leads to the value of homes going up way too much for young people to afford. So let's actually get into the numbers, all right? First, let's take a look at this fun chart, okay? This is a chart that was put together by Visual Capitalist using Federal Reserve economic data. And what it does is it shows you the ratio of home prices to income, right? And as you can tell, income has not kept up with housing inflation. You see the green line at the bottom, that represents income. You see the blue line up top where you see a spike, a steep incline in the graph, and that represents median sales prices for homes. So obviously the value of homes has gone up significantly while income is mostly flatlined, although in recent years we have seen a little bit of an increase in income.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
I want to give you another specific example. So I grew up in a working class, mostly Latino community, Reseda, California, okay? Homes in Reseda are now like close to $1 million, which blows my mind, okay? It absolutely blows my mind. Working class community. Let's take a look at graphic 2. So this listing popped up, it was emailed to me. $870,000 for a 1,500 square foot home in Reseda, California, okay? So with the interest rates that we currently have, what do you think the monthly mortgage for a home like that is gonna be? Well, lucky for you, Redfin does calculations themselves to give you a sense of how much you're gonna pay every month. So let's look at the next graphic. Okay, so even if I put a 20% down payment, which is a whopping $174,000. That's a lot of money, okay? With a 7.37% interest rate, my monthly mortgage with property taxes and homeowners insurance, nearly $6,000. $6,000. $6,000. Okay.
But all of you are just lazy. That's why you can't afford the $6,000 a month. Just for mortgage, let alone everything else you gotta pay post taxes. So look, here's the thing. I kid around about Dave Ramsey all the time because back when we first started like 20 years ago, he was actually, we talked to him and he actually helped us around the edges. And so in our experience, off air, he's kind of a good guy, right? So, but what I can't understand about relatively smart guys like Dave Ramsey is why they can't understand this simple concept. The graph that we just showed you. Yeah, housing prices are stratospheric. And yes, compared to our income. And when you were buying a house, it was much, much easier, Dave. Why is it so hard to get that through your head? I mean, look, Anna points out the Reseda prices. You know, you go to different places in LA, and I've seen these things. One guy that runs a mom and pop shop, and how they bought a house in Manhattan Beach in 1967 for $15,000. That house is worth at least $2 million now.
And look, I totally get that in cities like LA, housing is very expensive. And so what you'll commonly hear from people like Dave Ramsey really is, well, just move to another state where housing prices are much lower. Yeah, but the money you make in those states also happens to be much lower, right? So you have to look at that income to house prices ratio, and it is a problem regardless of any state that you're living in. If you're lucky and you get to work from home, and you can make a lot of money as if you're living in LA, but you're actually living in Mississippi or Michigan. Yeah, you can you can afford a home in that scenario, but not every American is fortunate enough to live that scenario.
Yeah, and we've shown you other charts in the past where our income flatlines, corporate profits go through the roof. These are uncomfortable stats for people inside mainstream media. That's why they don't share them with you. What's easy is to blame younger people and go, it's their fault, when in reality we live under corporate rule and our wages have shrunk and our costs have gone sky high. And what is the result of that? We make less, we can afford less, whereas corporations are now at record-breaking profits, unseen in human history. And that's the part of the story they always leave out. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.